From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Good evening and welcome to OpenLine. We have got a great topic for you tonight, talking about all things Metro Council, and there's certainly a lot to talk about these days. Our guest tonight is Councilwoman Joy Styles. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so very much for having me back. I very much enjoy being here.
Of course. So first, if people aren't as familiar with you, remind them where your district is.
Sure. I am in District 32. And I am where the Hickory Hollow Mall, currently called Global Mall, is located, as well as Century Farms. And so you all need to come and visit us out in Antioch. We're going to have many things for you to do soon.
Absolutely, and we will talk about the Global Mall in just a minute, but I feel like we have to start tonight talking about East Bank, because that is very much on the top of people's minds. For one, give people an idea of what we learned this week about what that might look like.
So the truth is, it's been a very long process. It's been 18 months, and it's great that we're talking about the East Bank first, because it'll be a great lead in to talk about what's about to take place with the Global Mall. And so this is generally the process when you're looking at redeveloping, revitalizing a particular area. It's a lot of design work, a lot of community input, a lot of community meetings, tweaking, looking at renderings, making sure what the community is asking for, but also what the city needs are being implemented and included in the plan. So this week, what we got to see is what planning has been working on for the last 18 months, along with Councilmember Sean Parker and also Councilmember Brett Withers. So East Bank currently is in District 5. But it also, of course, affects the other districts, so that Councilmember Withers is in District 6. But it was unveiled what the plan is to include mixed use. So that's housing, that's restaurants, of course, all of the businesses, a pedestrian bridge that's going to connect both sides of the Cumberland, which, as we continue to talk about accessibility and connectivity, that is prime in terms of being able to not have to drive your car. I mean, that really is the direction that we need to be moving in. It's certainly what I'm considering in my own district. We get so many complaints about traffic. We have so many people moving here that have moved here with cars, and we're still working on our transportation system. So having a new project that prioritizes accessibility is critical.
Sure, absolutely. Now, of course, I feel like the linchpin holding pretty much all of the East Bank renovation, redevelopment process is a new Titan Stadium. What are your thoughts on that? Because that can be sometimes a loaded topic in town, and for the last 30 years it has been a loaded topic.
And so you decided to just drop that in my lap. We started with East Bank, and now we've moved
I feel like you have to talk about it, though. You do.
So. You do. The fact of the matter is, we have asked our constituents to trust us a lot in regards to recent projects and spending and investments. And truthfully, a stadium sounds wonderful if it is for everyone. The truth is, not everyone in this city is going to a Titans game every year. Maybe some people are going once every 5 years. So when you ask to spend money, it's a big lift. So what I'm waiting for is to see what this plan is, where we're not on the hook for it. Okay. And I know that there are people that are looking into that, and I'm excited to see what they bring back to us so we can collectively support it, where it's not a burden to taxpayers, and they also can be excited about having a new stadium. And maybe it makes them say, well, I haven't been, let me go.
Well, I'm curious, because the Butch Spiritans of the world would tell you that it'll bring in lots of events beyond just NFL, whether that's the big game, the Super Bowl, whether that's NCAA. Do you put credence in that, or does it really come back to who's on the hook for paying?
Seriously, for me, with the way that we have been doing projects, and they're all projects that are great, Global Mall is for the entire community. It has a history. It's the first mall of the state. So investing in that makes sense, right? But that was $44 million. And so when you're spending large amounts of money, you have to justify it. It has to make sense. And I completely agree with Butch. A new stadium is versatility in action. We can do a variety of things in there that are beneficial to the city and also our surrounding communities, because everything isn't based on downtown. We have to remember that people are coming from Hendersonville, people are coming from Cool Springs, we're coming from Antioch, Laverne, and coming to downtown. So we're providing an experience for the region. That's wonderful to provide that, but it can't come at a cost for the people that are directly being impacted, that live by it and within the county itself.
Sure, absolutely. We have Steve joining us on the phone lines to talk about this. Steve, welcome to OpenLine. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, Steve. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Yes, I was a little bit concerned. In her district, we had the Global Mall project, it was sold, and yet we don't know much about the details. We know that Vanderbilt is going to go out and do some stuff there, but the lease terms and critical things that you would see in a term sheet, we weren't given. And also, I think that that's the same thing about East Bank, is that we're talking about mixed use, but we don't know what mixed use is going to be there. We're supposed to comment on that in the next 30 days, but it's really hard to comment on something when we don't have much detail out there. So I wish the administration, I wish Joy would go out there and push the administration to be more transparent so that we can competently comment on what's going on in our city. Thank you.
Steve, appreciate the call. And that tees us up straight to Global Mall as well, but would love to get your thoughts on what Steve had to say.
Yes, Steve, thank you so much for your question. So I will give you what's going on with Global Mall. Right now, we have been meeting monthly starting in April with the community. We started about a year ago really talking about what we wanted to see on the site, and that was prior to Metro purchasing the property. What does the community want to see? What are our needs? Once we purchased it, in April, we started having community conversations with the planning department. Once they became involved to talk about what is this going to look like to create a master site plan, what's going to be included in the mall. Yes, Vanderbilt is going to be our anchor tenant, and to let you know, we are still working on the lease. I can tell you, because I'm involved in the process, it is going well. I completely understand why you would be concerned, because it wasn't all together on the front end. I will say that this was one of those unique moments where you know that you have lightning in a bottle and an opportunity that you need to seize upon to move forward. This was one of those moments. And so knowing what Vanderbilt brings to the community in terms of jobs, knowing that they have 600,000 square feet that they're going to be renovating and bringing jobs on site, which means less traffic, because many of their employees actually live in Antioch. So this will now provide an opportunity to work closer to home. In addition to the other amenities that are coming to the area, we begin to become a live, work, play environment. So I understand your concerns. Things are moving well. In fact, my community meeting is next week. If you would like to come in person, it's at the Southeast Community Center at 6 p.m. Or I do have a link to Zoom, which is on my Councilwoman Joy Styles for District 32 Facebook page, and you can tune in at 6 o'clock. We will have the planning team there, and I believe we are ready to announce the company that's going to be designing that site. So we will begin. They'll announce themselves. They will hear from us what are the things that we've asked for. And then over the next few months, we're going to have the same conversations that the East Bank have in terms of community engagement. What would you like to see? How would you like to see the site constructed? Do you want to leave it the same? Do you want to break up buildings? How do we add green space? How do we add accessibility? Also talking about transportation, transit hub, housing. What does that look like on the site? All of these things are coming. Certainly not attempting to do this in the dark. I'm a very transparent person, Steve. So I assure you, I am working with the administration to make sure that we are conveying the truth, because this is your money at play, and that is never to be forgotten.
Let's bring Mike into the conversation. Mike, go ahead with your question or comment. Welcome to OpenLine.
Hello, Chris, and good evening, Councilwoman Styles. Here's my problem. I'm out for I'm on the pro side as far as Global Mall. I think it's a great thing that Antioch is getting that area. I think it's nice that they're going to have Vanderbilt as a anchor there like they do at 100 Oaks. So this is going to stop people from having to come through traffic on 24 or whatever, and either going to 100 Oaks or either to the main hospital on 21st. But this East Bank thing, and this is over where Oracle is going to be. I guess it's right behind or to the back of Top Golf over there. I just believe right now with Oracle having a net worth of $203 billion as of August 23rd, 2022, they need to pick up that tab. They need to get Amazon or somebody else to do that. And we don't need Mayor raise our property taxes 34% in the middle of a pandemic to come up with these great ideas. 1 minute is the soccer team, the stadium. Okay, we got that, check that off the list. But there's always something else, over and over again that somewhere or another is going to dwindle back down to the average citizen in Davidson County, and it's going to mean increased property taxes. But I am for progression. I like seeing things that are going to really, truly help, and I do see the Global Mall and the Old Hickory Hollow Mall being one of those more positive things that are happening. And I'll just hang up and listen to your response. Thank you very much.
Mike, we appreciate the call. Some thoughts?
So, Mike, I appreciate your transparency, and I understand both of what you and Steve are mentioning, which is transparency, feeling that there's a lack of it, and continuing to be asked to have faith. I understand it, and in many ways, I agree. I'm a little bit more inside, so I can see what the machinations are behind it. With East Bank, I think as it moves forward, we have opportunities to work with other organizations to make that happen. The goal is not to saddle our constituents with extra debt, right? And the fact of the matter is, and I know this is a hard thing to say, a hard thing for people to hear, the tax increase that we did was needed because of all the years that the tax increase didn't happen, because people worried, oh, I don't want to do it this year because it's a re-election year and that might cost me the re-election, which is not how we should be making decisions. We should be making decisions on what's good for the city. Sadly, you end up having to do a large increase because the smaller increases were missed in the past. There's no talk of another tax increase, so let me just put that out there. I think the correction that we did is serving us well. It got us out of our financial problem. Frankly, the first meeting when I came to Metro was the state comptroller welcoming us and telling us that he would rather teach Portuguese to a Mill Creek raccoon than come in and take over our finances, but he was getting ready to. And so that's how our term started. And so we had to address the budget so that the budget remained ours, and that was the solution. So as it pertains to East Bank, those conversations, the rollout of the renderings yesterday were to just talk about what this site is going to look like. There wasn't an announcement about the company that's designing it yet, but just to let the public know work is being done, things are moving forward. And so the engagement in terms of who's going to help us take care of that is still something that's on the table. So I will ask you to keep an open mind, because I think you will be surprised. There's certainly a majority of us that are pushing that this does not fall on your shoulders and you don't feel it in your wallet, because we all know that we're dealing with inflation right now. That's the last thing you want to hear, is there's extra money coming out of my wallet. For something, again, am I going to use it every day? The hope is yes, that you'll eventually go down and want to use the park or walk through, but we do have to be mindful.
Absolutely. We are off to a great start here on Open Line. Lots to talk about. David, I know you're on line 3. Stay with us. We'll have your question or comment after this break.